Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's an all-you-can-geek bonus round for Marvel's Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm one of your host, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy,
What's up?
Corey
Let's
Funsub,
fucking go!
and Tony Korkanakis.
Let's fucking go, indeed.
Welcome, listeners. Welcome, viewers. We're live on Twitch Tuesday night starting 8 o'clock right now. We're kicking this off with a bonus round, not the regular podcast yet. We will be following this up with the movies and the games cast. But we thought, hey, let's tackle the biggest movie in the world right now. This will be our bonus round spoiler cast for Deadpool and Wolverine. So if you have not seen this, I don't know how that's possible yet. I also don't know how the movie has not been spoiled for you yet. But this will be full of spoilers. We're free to talk about this movie, and I just want to give everybody that warning now.
Full spoilers ahead.
We're also on YouTube. If you're watching this YouTube, subscribe. Hope you enjoy the video. That's it. Last warning. Done. All right, guys. This is the bonus round for Deadpool Wolverine. We all just saw this movie this weekend. I think, I mean, I don't know who didn't see this movie yet this weekend.
Considering it did very well. It beat all of our expectations, even our predictions. So crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't even right, and I thought I was wrong. I mean, I thought I was not even close. I thought I was overshooting. So, anyways, we all saw it separately too, which is insane because usually one of us we get to go together at some point.
All different days,
schedules. Oof. Yeah. I mean, I personally love this movie. Absolutely love this movie myself. I am extremely high on it to the point where I want to go see it again. So. We're going to get into some spoilers, obviously, but I want to give you my thoughts. Because I'm sure there'll be some nitpicking that goes on, but I want you to let you know that right now. I loved it. Tony, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I expected a lot worse in terms of, I know back when they first started talking about shooting and the plot and everything like that, I was expecting Deadpool kills the Fox cinematic universe basically kind of thing, which would have some mixed feelings, I'm sure, from a lot of people at best. So I'm glad to see they actually, for the most part, I think actually revered that universe. I gave it a proper send off and everything like that. So in that terms, I was pleasantly surprised and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ryan Reynolds tweeted that out. Actually, this was more of a thank you, you know. So, but yeah, that's cool. Mike,
I really liked it. I don't know if it's a great movie per se, but I thought it was really fun and I really liked it. Especially as a fan of Wolverine and probably the biggest fan of what Fox has done here and of Wolverine. But so I was pleasantly surprised that this wasn't, a shit on Fox movie because it could have been. So I was happy with that, and yeah, it was fun. But I have some reasons why it's not like as good of a movie as say something similar like the Spider-Man. Was it Far From Home? I don't think it's as good as a movie as that.
Yeah. No, I think and we can talk about this as we go through the movie. It's more of a villain thing for me on that aspect of things. Corey, what'd you give? Quick impression.
No, I think it was very good.
Really.
No,
okay.
I think the fears. We were talking earlier. It's like, what does Marvel do as far as be picky with the things that Deadpool can do and like get their hands into the mix and stuff, and it seems like they were very much hands off. It's like, yeah, you do your thing, and this help us bring in a new saga to Marvel and help us not necessarily because like they kind of shit on the multiverse saga a little bit in this, but it's like I don't necessarily think this movie like save Marvel or anything like that. I just think it's a good movie at the great time. And there's a lot of fun. Like there's just definitely a lot of fun to have, and to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in the Wolverine costume that we all wanted to see him in is like a huge payoff for the fans after like 25 years, whatever it is.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, Cool. All right, so let's get into the story a little bit. We won't dissect the entire movie for you guys, but we will talk about our favorite parts and fun things, which was a lot. There's a lot of good fun stuff in this movie, from the credits all the way through. I think a lot of fun stuff to talk about. So yeah, I mean, credit sequence, knew what we were in for. I thought that was hilarious the way it started with Wolverine's corpse.
No, I
just
like that they just addressed it immediately. It's like, yeah, we're not going to like obviously before the movie came out, it'd be like, how are you gonna bring Wolverine? And like Logan's such a great send off for the character, and it's like you can't like do anything with that. It's like, no, we couldn't. We're just gonna have to just be as raunchy as and as disrespectful as we can, essentially, but make it a joke and make it fun.
Yeah, I mean, only gripe I might have with that opening sequence is the amount of dudes he just leveled. Like, Loki had problems with the TVA, but Deadpool did not have any problems with TVA. That's all. But I did like the fact that the TVA was in this from the Loki series. Now, Mike, you never watched the Loki series, right?
No, I watched the first season.
Oh,
I
so
didn't
you
watch
had an
the
idea
second
what was
season.
happening. That's good. That's right.
Yeah, knew all I needed to about it.
Okay. Well, sort of. You're gonna want to watch more as we go. But yeah, Tony. So Tony, we had that aspect of it starting, and then we went into where we got introduced to who was pretty blatantly the villain. I feel like we knew that happening from the TVA. Paradox, right?
Yeah, well,
That was his
before
name.
that, I
Yes.
wanted to touch upon
So-
the opening credits because
What do we think about this version of the TVA? Pretty,
the TVA. I mean, whatever, it's fine,
oh yeah, yeah. That's
like,
why you weren't chiming in. I didn't know you wanted to. Okay, go ahead. Go for
Yeah,
it. Sorry.
I was waiting. uh, the paradox is fine, whatever. Offshoot, organization segment goes rogue and stuff like that. But that opener, I thought was really great. I mean, the audience I was with, and I went on a Friday matinee afternoon showing, so even still, the movie was pretty packed. I want to say 90%. And the whole time, he's monologuing like, oh, healing factor means he doesn't die. I'm like, is he just gonna pull out Wolverine's corpse and he's just gonna be alive, or it's like, oh, I just wanted to sleep or something like that. I was not expecting the whole oh yeah, he's just an adamantium skeleton now.
Yeah.
And we're gonna proceed to
Thought
use
they
that for
maybe going with that, yeah.
fucking little weapon the entire time. I love the one part where one of the TVA agents was like, "How dare you? That's the best thing that's ever come out of Canada," or whatnot. And I was like, "Oh my god!" While the Bye 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 is playing and he's dancing clips, that was just
Leave your country out of my mouth. And he does the sword thing.
Leave your country's name out. Leave my country's name out of your fucking mouth. That was excellent. Great intro. I was not expecting anything close to that. I thought actually you guys might have had a problem with that.
Amazing.
To me, it seemed like it was kind of like
amazing one-liners thrown
poo-pooing
into that intro.
on Logan a little bit, but yeah.
No, I mean, I like the fact they started off saying that this is not, Logan's dead. That's it.
Yeah.
They're not going to step on that movie, and they didn't. They didn't step on that movie whatsoever. I know people were up in arms about it, but they did not, in my opinion.
Well, the funny thing, the first thing I thought was when he was digging up the grave, he's like, "Those kids really dug 6 feet in? Like, what? Like, are you serious?" Like, I thought they just piled rocks on him, but no, it's. I don't think I had no problem with it at all.
Yeah.
No, it didn't bother me. I mean, again, I wasn't I understand the whole noble sacrifice thing too, but sort of like him dying, I'm like, I wasn't really ever sold on that too much anyway. I was like, Wolverine's the one who survives and deals with it. I know, but it worked for what that movie was, and it obviously that movie had stakes, and this one kind of doesn't. So that's part of it, but and I'm trying to remember because I also watched Deadpool 2 over this weekend. Did the first movie have a flash back forward thing?
The first movie was very much like it starts with them on the highway, and then it jumps back and says, "Oh, this is how we got to this point." So it's basically
fighting
similar.
those
right.
goons
Same thing.
So he does that in all of the Deadpool movies.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
this was much shorter, at least. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
So
that was way further in that movie. Yeah.
Yeah. No. We get introduced to the idea of anchor beings next, right? That was what the paradox was talking. Yeah, how it's deteriorating. So we get the anchor being idea. What do you think of this anchor being? Confusing to me, right?
Is it?
So
I
a
don't know
lot
if it's
of this,
confusing. I just don't think it
Well,
really.
a lot of
if
a lot of the
um,
plot of this movie is meta plot in a way where like it's again like to my eyes like the villains are sort of Disney in this movie in a way where like if you don't have one important bankable character, your universe doesn't deserve to exist. And that's the new owners. That's kind of how it really is. It's kind of the meta plot of the movie. So the anchor beings, I see that almost one to one as an outside the the universe plot almost.
I mean, I don't like the fact that like let's say the anchor being is Spider-Man, right? And Spider-Man dies of old age. Does that mean the universe is done?
Well, I just mean it's just
Yeah,
what's weird is like
that's
why
how
are all the
fiction works.
anchor beings in the universe are alive right now as well?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but like I don't know. I just think
That's how
also it's kind
fiction
of
works.
confusing in that like oh you take a Wolverine out of a different universe. I guess he's not the anchor being in that one, but he is in this one. How does that
Yeah.
work? But
Yeah,
it's movie logic,
it's
It's
so
movie
it's
logic.
movie
I know
you're
that you
not
can
there
dissect
to
commentary.
like
it.
dissect
It's
this film's
multiverse,
plot line.
multiverse
You're
meta
here for other
commentary.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That was I didn't understand that part of it, but yeah. So we get the
I mean, I
recruitment.
do like the story and how like the concept of why Deadpool's doing the things he's doing and the reason he needs to save his universe and find Wolverine. I think that's a good idea. And I like the idea of that. So we got to see the montage with.
Montage with this was great. I
The
this was my favorite part of the movie. I think this montage.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm trying to remember when he goes to interview with Happy Hogan.
Hmm.
Uh, that's supposed to not be his universe, or is it
Right.
also?
No,
How
It's
did he
not
get
his.
there? Just with
he used
cable
Cable's device.
That's what that cable
time
device.
travel?
Hmm.
Yep.
That can go through universes and not just time, apparently.
Yep. Movie, comic
Apparently,
book logic.
I was shocked
That
they
was
put.
what
I
I
was
was a
shocked
little
they put
confused about.
Logan in his universe. Like
Well,
that Logan was
that's
from his
another
universe.
thing too, because I sort of he was sort of adjacent to the Fox like X-Men universe, and they showed him, I guess, briefly in Deadpool too, with in a short clip with the Mikael McAvoy group.
Hmm. First
Uh,
class.
yeah, although that was when they were filming one of the bad newer ones, but yeah, I don't know. I always found Logan as like sort of like it's like a what if sort of story in that universe. So I don't know. It's again, it's a little bit of universe fan wanking, as they say, to make it all fit here because it was always a little confusing about what follows what in that universe, and here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so we got the montage, guys. Let's break it down. We had a great. I loved. This was like I said, it may be my favorite part, but there's obviously some other great ones. We got the comic book accurate Wolverine, which I thought was just
Height
awesome.
wise,
Love they
Found
did that.
that somewhat offensive as a short guy, but it was all right.
I'm short. I loved it, but I thought it was hilarious. We got Henry
hops
Cavill
off the bars.
as Wolverine, which I thought was awesome that they brought him in for that.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
Calverine, yeah, that was great. It
Yeah.
was really fun. I like how he
I thought
said,
that
like,
was
"Oh, we'll treat
great.
you like we'll treat you better than the guys down the street."
Yeah, a little bit of a we'll treat you better than the guys down the street. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. That was I thought that was a great little pop at them. I thought it was good. But I thought Cavill looked great as Wolverine too. Just so you guys all know. Oh, well, I believe he's also the only other actor to play Wolverine, right?
Hmm.
On the live action.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I mean, that Age of Apocalypse one, I was shocked to see that. I was like, whoa,
That was cool.
the Age of
That was
Apocalypse
cool.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
Age of Apocalypse. That was
oh yeah,
great.
Yeah, that one
That got
right
me
on
into like,
cover,
Yeah.
I
huh?
think, with the skulls.
Yeah,
where he's
I would love to have
crucified.
seen that movie. Like Jesus, that would have been.
Hmm. Yeah, the crucified one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a lot of great fan
There
service
was
parts.
Patch. Yep.
Yeah. We
We
saw
got the
that in the
original.
trailer. Yep.
We get the
There was
brown.
another sort of Old Man Logan one.
With
Yep,
the
it's the
torch.
brown and yellow classic suit
Mhm.
Wolverine
Yeah,
versus Hulk
nice to see that one too.
in that
Yeah.
sequence, which is
Sort
awesome.
of. Yeah.
Got
You get
the famous
little.
cover with the claws showing Hulk's reflection.
Yeah. Any other notable ones? I don't think so. Right? Except for the comic book outfit one. That we end up with, where obviously we don't get his whole story right away. But
So what was interesting was he chose this one just because he didn't immediately try to kill him. Is that
yeah,
the logic?
yep, that's it.
Okay.
He stayed alive longer than most of the other Wolverines let him stick around for. So that guy definitely is not the anchor being of the universe. But yeah, and he has at a bar drinking a lot, and that's what he does. So yeah, I mean, I liked what Hugh Jackman did here with like bringing this character to doing something a little different with him. But it's still the same persona, I guess, right? Did he really change too much?
I mean, he's still Wolverine.
Yeah.
So it's not that different, but I I like how they made it story relevant as to why he's wearing this suit all the time. But I didn't like that they like tried to build up like, oh, what he did was so bad. And it's like, oh, he was just out drinking. That's
Well,
it. You
no,
missed it.
he killed a bunch of people. He went on a
We want
murder
to
Was
kill
spree.
that
him
But
after
was
that.
that before or after? That was after, so that didn't even.
That was after. That was the result.
I was
That was the result
expecting
of
it
it.
to be more of a old man Logan situation where he was the one responsible directly for killing all the X-Men, etc. But no, it was more like, oh, he was just out drinking, missed, and then he turned
Yep.
everyone on the X-Men after they were dead. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Turn
But
them
that's how
on.
they
I'll
said
turn
it,
them on mutants.
Yeah.
I guess.
So then we get the Void, where I think that's the first time we've heard of this, right? The Void from the TVA.
I don't think
Am I
so.
Probably.
I
wrong? Was
think
that in
we've heard
Loki?
it before.
Was that in Loki?
No, no, we've been there, right?
That
I
was in
remember that
Loki.
giant thing that sucks stuff in the first
Well,
season.
I mean, Loki,
He cites
obviously,
it.
yeah.
He
But
literally
I didn't
cites
think
the
it was in the
episode.
Void. Was that the Void in the first one?
What?
Yeah.
I didn't think that was in the Void the first season Loki. I
It
don't.
says
I know where they
this
were.
He says
exact
the episode. That's what I'm saying. He's like,
number.
Episode 5.
Season
Yes,
one,
I
episode
understand
5,
that.
yeah.
The being was from that episode. I didn't think it was from the
Mhm.
Void.
What did you think that
Yeah, but I'm
place
saying I
was?
didn't
No,
think
I
that was
think
the
we were
Void.
there.
One,
Yeah.
episode 5. Whatever.
I knew exactly what he said, but I just didn't think that was where they were. I don't remember actually where that was, but I thought it was. I know the being was from that place, but I didn't think it was from the Void. I thought it was from wherever they were, and they brought it in.
See, it helped me to remember by not watching Loki season 2 because I
Yeah.
only watched season
Yeah.
1.
There you go.
Anyways, so we hit the Void,
Mhm.
and we get the Wasteland, very much Furiosa style, if you will.
Mad Max.
Mad Max, yeah. I love the Furiosa jokes that he threw in there. There's some great jokes in between this. We get with his friends actually back home too, but the Void is actually where like most of this movie takes place, and I thought that this was really cool to, obviously we get a Chris Evans a cameo shot, sort of, right? Not really cameo. He's a role in this movie, I guess, right?
Yeah,
But I
no,
thought
I mean, like what Tony said earlier, and I think they did a really good job, is that they brought in cameos, but they weren't just like, here's a quick cameo, it's 5 seconds, although Cavill was kind of that, but it's 5 seconds, and it's just gonna like be a shocker. Oh, hey, look, we got this guy to like pose for a second, and then there's no reference to them ever again, and there's no relevance to their appearance at all whatsoever. It's more just fan service. Here, every like cameo was impactful and was like had.
Sabretooth wasn't.
Yeah, Sabretooth was kind of
I
a
think
joke,
all the cameos I felt were pretty impactful and like had some pretty meaningful moments to them, and like it was really cool to see that. I think like I said before, Tony, it was like honoring the Fox universe.
Yeah,
Like this movie is like at its heart like it was a really good send off to the Fox universe, more so even though he's trying to save this universe. That's the whole thing, right? He's trying to save his universe from being destroyed, and we know the outside of the movie stuff and all that, and what happened with Disney buying it and all, and who knew what was going to happen to these characters and what Marvel was going to do, and we all had faith that they're going to make it better. But it was cool to see them like say, hey, like these movies existed and there were some cool characters, and look at what they were, and let's like give them a proper ending to their stories and things like that. And so seeing Chris Evans was a good fake out. I mean, that was definitely a
That was an
moment where
amazing fake out.
most people absolutely were like thinking it was going to be a different thing.
That was an
Like
Yeah,
amazing
when,
fake out.
when
especially
was the
because it's got the same colors.
yeah?
Like he does the hood thing, comes out, and then Deadpool's like building it up. He's like, "Oh, he's gonna say Avengers," and then flame
Flame
on,
on!
and then it's like,
Hey,
"Oh,
hey, on.
it's like what?" Yeah,
But
Yeah.
yeah,
That,
I'd
I
like to.
wonder how many like just strict MCU fans are still super confused after that. They're like, "What? Who's that?"
Yeah, I did feel I liked how they got Pyro back and Toad and Pyro
Yeah.
is good stuff. I like Pyro in this a lot, so I thought that was really
Well,
cool.
Pyro was the headlining sort of like rogues gallery character. The other ones kind of sort of blurred
I
together.
think they got like
But
other than Ray Park, like almost and as all as Azel, whatever. I think most of the other they were all recasted, so
Yeah,
no, I think they
or
had
different
well,
versions of
different
these
versions, not
characters,
recast. Yeah,
I mean,
as we get with
I know we had
variants.
Vinny, the not Vinny Jones version of Juggernaut, even though it was what he wore
Hmm.
from that. But I think they had a few other ones on the side there that just were kind of there, like
That was Lady
some of the
Deathstrike.
real
Well, yeah,
people.
they had like Callisto was there, Lady
Yeah,
Deathstrike, the Russian.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
yeah.
mhm.
So
I think there's like a bullseye variant in there. It had like the bullseye symbol on his
Yeah.
head.
yeah, we got to meet more villains on the on at the Ant-Man shelter, which was hilarious. But so what, Tony? Take us to the next part. What is the? So we had Cassandra after that, right? I'm not skipping over
Andrew
stuff,
Nova. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we have the Cassandra
right?
Nova part, and I love
Why?
the because they get captured, right? And then I love the part where Deadpool's egging her on, right, with like just saying all that shit that he's like, oh, Johnny over here said this about you, and this and this.
All
He's
the
like, shut
all the
up.
things that Johnny's saying.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, as you're watching that live, it's like, what the fuck is going on, man? And then all of a sudden, obviously, she just,
Yeah.
rips his flesh off, and all his organs come tumbling out of his body and stuff like that. And he's like, oh shit, that was kind of neat. Like, why did he just do that? He was just like, oh, like, fuck this guy, even though he's technically on our side, like, fuck him. But that was funny. But then, the being comes out, and they get away through some rocket powered device or whatever.
Live.
Yeah. Also, I think I
Thing.
Yeah.
am lagging.
Like a
If you guys
rocket
Wow.
are
foot.
telling me.
Like I think it's
By the
like
way,
an Iron Man leg or something.
does the being have like a deal? Yeah, you are a little bit. I think. Yeah, you're a little behind us. But I do think does the being have some sort of deal with Cassandra Nova and her
Yeah.
henchmen? It comes and eats the world, but not them ever.
Yeah, so that was she said that they had to deal with that.
Oh
They
no, I thought she had a deal with the TVA. I don't
no,
think
she
she
said
had.
in that sequence she said they had to deal with that beast, so the being. So
I don't know how that works, but then
yeah, I
again, she
don't know
has
what
Well,
that is.
she's like
know,
a
she has
super
do
mutant. I mean,
anything
she's
powers.
incredibly powerful. Like, she's like
It's,
almost
Omega.
Charles.
They
Charles.
said it in
yeah,
the movie she's an Omega
it,
mutant.
it,
Yeah.
it's always a little weird when you get people with these do anything powers, but whatever.
Yeah. So we get this is where I think the real movie really goes, really begins is the buddy, the buddy team up sort of thing, but the journey of the two and their actual character
Well,
growth.
before we move off of Cassandra Nova, I think like you said, like
We'll go back.
obviously Paradox is like the main
Yeah,
is a villain, right? He's an antagonist of this, but
yeah.
I feel like Cassandra Nova is of like more interesting to me, way more
Oh, she
interesting,
was
and I
absolutely. She
think
was.
I think she's the
she
real
was like
villain
a
But
of the story.
I don't think we got enough of her from this.
well, I
That's
mean she played her role really well, and like the things that she did very well.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think.
I mean I thought she was a standout in this film.
yeah.
Again,
I
I
don't think we
don't
got
think
enough
you could
of her.
have.
Go on, Mike.
I think you could, because she has do anything powers. You really kind of have to limit how much she's there, though, because anytime she's there, it's like a writing issue because there's just it's like, oh, why doesn't she just like kill everyone or mind flay everyone and
Yeah.
so they had to limit her a little bit. And then she got, her sort of climax was weird too. She had like two climaxes, but I guess we'll get there later.
Yeah. So, um, I don't know. So we have the landing in, I guess, different land of that world, and we get Nice Pool showing up,
Yeah.
right?
Is that then? I guess so.
Am I muted? No. Is it Nice Pool?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he called himself. Nice pool. Yep.
Yeah. Nice Pool and Dog Pool showing up now. Now we get more Deadpools showing up here. So we have
Yes,
Dog
yeah.
Pool.
So many
Um,
Deadpools.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So I don't know why the fact is that there's so many Deadpool variants. I guess it's just because that's how he was written. Sometimes they did that
Mhm.
in the
Well,
comics.
he's kind of outside the he's breaks the fourth wall. He's aware of the fact that he's a comic book character also, so he breaks all the rules.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, so lots of Deadpool variants. Most of them are
Mhm.
just
I
jokes.
mean, dog pool is the first one you get, so before
Yeah,
nice pool,
the
right?
world's ugliest dog. Yep. And yeah. So, but then they're traveling
yeah.
in
Yeah.
the car
So
that he
sorry.
doesn't want to drive in. I thought
The
the
car was a
car
great
joke
joke.
was one of the
Yeah.
funniest ones.
The Honda minivan. I thought that was a
On
great little mini.
Odyssey, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, the Odyssey. Yeah. So we had the journey with them in the car where we had the finally somebody shut up Deadpool, right? I would
It
say
was
Wolverine
good. It was
finally.
a good speech from Wolverine.
That was
That's
a
Yeah,
great month.
I
A
thought it was great.
speech of just telling him everything mean to make him sad.
I love what he's like.
yeah,
The Avengers didn't want you. The
Yeah.
X-Men didn't
I mean,
want
shut
you,
up
and they'll
Deadpool.
take anybody. It's like,
absolutely.
yeah.
Fucking moron.
It's like, how's that mouth? It's like, oh shit. Okay, he's got personal there.
That was great lines. Great in the
Did have
car battle too.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean that was their second fight scene too. They had a good first one earlier, and then now they have a pretty good
I think
second
this was
fight
their
scene.
this was a great fight sequence for them. They were in that car like just destroying each other nonstop. I thought it was great. Great music to it. Good soundtrack by the way for this movie. Everything they fit in this I thought was great. But this was great. That moment.
The other like because of how meta Deadpool is. I was thinking the whole time, I was like, man, they are really like digging into each other. Blades, claws, slicing and dicing. Like if these were anybody else, like those clothes should just be like destroyed. But these outfits are just like surviving everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
bad healing
I was
I
factor
like
think
too.
waiting for Deadpool to just call, like, oh man, like clothes are staying on, but it never happened.
That is one thing I noticed. There's like you don't see any active healing in this. It's all like hidden by their suits.
Hmm.
yeah. Um
Yep, he's got the bullets to push, or when he pushed the bullets out when he got shot in the beginning with the Fox logos part, and that was also an interesting, like that was cool with it was the 20th Century Fox logo because now they don't have Fox, and then the X was out of it, so you could see the X and everything.
yeah. Yeah, I thought that was good. Um yeah, I mean the next sequence was where we get the cameo reveals, not really cameo, role reveals of the is it four of them?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
for.
The four of them. There was four of them
Hmm.
because there was five, but Johnny Storm is no longer with them anymore.
Yep. So yeah,
Uh,
after the minivan battle, which was like I said, it was great. It
yeah.
was super bloody, cool to see.
So, what did you think about these reveals here? Obviously, Wesley Snipes as Blade.
That was the most surprising one, even though I think I might have been half spoiled to that one.
Um, Channing Tatum as Gambit, which
Which was it was mostly funny. I feel like a little bad. Like it feels bad a little bit just because you could tell like it's a little too late for that. Like he looked dumb in that. He's got his face as he's gotten a little older has gotten rounder and rounder, and Gambit's more of like a, you know, more of a rectangle headed character, I would say, and it just didn't quite fit in that like head sock. But
it looked
I
weird on him
mean,
at first. I was surprised with uh, Jesus, why am I blanking on her name?
Jennifer
Elektra?
Garner.
Elektra's return.
Well,
Jennifer
Jennifer Garner.
Garner.
Yeah, she's like
Yeah, Jennifer Garner.
50 or something now, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
and that was impressive. So everyone looked pretty good for how old they were.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the biggest pop was for Blade when he showed up in my theater, which was crazy because I was talking to Tony later on, and like there was like so many Gen Z people in my audience. Like it was crazy. I think I was sitting next to like maybe 13, 14-year-old girls next to me. And they were so excited for this movie, which is pretty crazy to think about,
Yeah.
considering it's an R-rated film about these guys that have been playing these characters for decades.
Yeah. So, um,
But who
all
else
right.
was there? That's three. Who else was there?
Oh, there was
Daphne
X20.
Keene,
Yeah.
Laura,
Oh yeah, I
X-23.
forgot. I kind of didn't count her because yeah. Yeah, that was interesting too that she showed up there, but again, that's the closest thing to like a theme or a heart sort of with this movie where, it showed that his sacrifice meant something even though she was now in a bad situation if she's there.
Yeah. Um, Tony, anything from that sequence for you?
What do you mean?
So, like from that sequence with like
No, it was
the
all right.
cameo.
All of them were surprises.
The resistance.
You know, it was cool seeing Wesley Snipes again as Blade. Audience at mine went nuts. People clapped for Gambit. I think he got even more laughs anytime he talked because it was just like Deadpool even commented like, "I can't understand this guy," and stuff like that. I mean, even Elektra, some people like clapped and cheered. And it's like, really, like Elektra? Okay,
Where's your dialect coach?
yeah.
Listen, again, it's kind of what this movie is. Like you bring Jackman's Wolverine back, and there's been some bad Wolverine movies, but you miss these characters after a while, and they show up again, and it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. Even Elektra you can get. So
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Although I do love the biggest meta thing, I think, where he's the only Blade there will ever be, and Deadpool turns to the camera.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we're gonna take a break for one moment here and come back with the last half of this. So just marking this for us, and we are back, folks. Sorry, we had a lot of technical difficulties there for our stream, but we are back for the now hopefully second half of this spoiler cast, continuing on to the movie and the game cast. So, guys, okay, so we're talking about the four of those guys. They all go back. We go back. Before we get to that part, is there any like the X-23 interactions you guys enjoyed? What was that like for you guys?
It's cool to see the character again.
Yeah.
Like, I think that like it was one of those things like if they were gonna bring Wolverine back after Logan, like that character kind of needed to be back as well in some capacity, and it was cool to see it wasn't just like a quick, oh there she is, and then bye.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I really appreciated that all these cameos, for the most part, they had like significant roles and were important to the story and important to give them a time to shine a little bit, and like even got some jokes about the non-existent Gambit movie. So
I thought that was great. His accent was hilarious. I can't understand you guy. I can't understand this guy whatsoever.
Yeah.
I love those jokes. It just goes to show why it was probably best they never made that movie. As we watched all that.
I think that they showed off was pretty interesting, but I do think it would have been
What they showed off was fine, but
80 minutes of that, 90 minutes of that? Yeah.
Fox back then would not have been able to.
Oh no, there was no way they were going to make a good movie out of that.
No. No way that would come in a film. So, but we got some great Gambit powers back at the raid, which I thought was the climax of the movie. I thought that was like the ending of the movie, right there when they went back, and I was like, wow, it's pretty quick this movie. But everybody had their moment, right? That we talked about the Fox universe there, the heroes that were forgotten. We had that. We had some awesome Cassandra Nova mind fuckery, is the best way to describe it, right?
fingering.
I
He
so I
fingered
think
everyone's mind.
you skipped over the one part where I think
Go ahead.
was supposed to hit emotionally.
Back me up.
When they were planning
yeah.
the raid, and Wolverine's like, "This is never gonna work. I'm not going with you." And everybody's trying to convince him, right? Because everybody's gung ho about it, except for him. Deadpool's like, "Man, read the room," stuff like that. But then the next scene, you see him outside, at the campfire alone. Next 23 comes up to him, and starts talking about whatever, and he's like, "Whoever you think I am, I'm not that guy. I'm the wrong guy or whatever like that." And that line she says kind of like hit for me because she's like, "You're always the wrong guy."
Yeah,
And then
that was a great
until
line.
you weren't.
That was a great line.
Like, damn, that's a good line.
That's his character, and that's why it's like all these Wolverines are still Wolverine. So that was good. It definitely makes sense for her to be the one to convince him there. And again, her showing up and being like well-adjusted, good. It's like, all right, this was a good sacrifice he made. There was a reason. She's good. She's a hero. She knows what to do.
Yeah.
Grown up now. This was why he did that. So again, yeah, it helps in a way. This isn't, again, it's not like the Far From Home level, but it does sort of that even disrespect as much as you say, or undoes the ending of Logan, but it almost enhances it a little bit, gives it more meaning that, like, yes, she actually did like grow up and turned out okay, because of his sacrifice. So that was cool, and that's what puts him over the edge, of course, to go with them on this.
Yeah, and I think it's like the characters are important for each other, right? They're saying like she's all just in the thing for who she is now because of the sacrifice that the Logan and her universe made.
Yeah.
But now she needs that she's just as important to all the other. I would assume all the other Wolverines to kind of get him to be to that hero person that he's going to be that we see in the as he is surprised. Oh no, he's in the back of the car. Like, of course we knew he was going to go, but to see it, see him get convinced that way was definitely a good moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was cool to see her back in this as an adult.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's got the pink glasses though.
Yeah, she still has those. That was great. I did, like I said, the that whole like fight sequence. I actually loved seeing like superhero, like superpowers, the mutant powers on display. I don't know. I just loved that last sequence.
Holding back. I mean, they were like, "Oh, hey, this car is gonna blow up, and I'm gonna get pushed back, and I'll be okay later." No, these guys are getting blown up.
Yeah,
like, Gambit's popping people here.
Gambit killed a lot of people.
Yes, he did.
No, everyone got their moments to look cool, which is good because these were characters that kind of never did, especially Gambit, obviously, and who watched Elektra, so this is also her moment as well to look cool. And
I did like the line back when they were first meeting each other and stuff like that in the hideout, when they're going through the list of like people that were there and then died, and somebody's like, "We lost Daredevil." He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and she's like, like kind of like I felt referencing the in real life relationship between them and stuff like that. So I was like, "Oh, okay,
yeah,
I see what you're doing. It's cool."
No, they had some great little pop one line like plugs right there, which were like I was trying to describe this movie to my wife, and it's very tough to because you're like, I don't think she would like this movie at all. Like, I feel like a lot of like comic book fans and the fans of the Fox universe, this was like great little jokes for them. A lot of that. Like, I know that like I don't know, like I don't know how those jokes land is what I'm saying. I don't know how they would land with non fanboys. Like, I don't know if it's as funny.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a lot of digs and jokes at the real world life stuff.
Sure.
And I think
the actors, yeah.
Oh, we lost Corey.
We lose Corey.
It's a nightmare of a night of technical difficulties. I don't know where he was going with that, but I do think he was saying like the Blake Lively references. Corey, you back with us?
Yeah, no, I was just saying. I think that the heart of this movie kind of, for me, I think outweighs a lot of the little digs. Like as far as like, you're gonna go for the fun film, but I think the core of what this film is doing is more impactful than just, oh, hey, there's a dig at Ben Affleck, and here's a Blake Lively reference to the extra bone in my body.
Yeah, I thought that the little jabs. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't see too many of them as even being
So
negative. It was just references.
No. what about that sequence there? Anything to go over with those the fight there? What do you guys want to talk about?
What fight?
The
one
Cassandra
where all the
Nova
generals
like
come?
fight
Oh,
in the
Again.
palace. In her like
again. She
And
a
that
character
man's
like her.
giant man's skull.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Again, a character like her causes a bunch of logical inconsistencies just by the fact that she doesn't win automatically all the time, and somehow the Juggernaut helmet works in reverse, or somehow I don't know what the hell that was all about either. But
I just thought it protected them from her powers, not like protected her. She can't go anywhere. I
it
guess.
turned them off. It looked like.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think about it though. Like, I guess if you put it on her head, where's her power? Where her power's going to go? She can't reach anybody.
I guess, but she seemed to also have
Adverse effects to wearing it.
No, but she also has atomic level telekinesis as well as the mind reading stuff. So that's a different thing that shouldn't really need her head. I don't know, whatever.
You get to these you gotta fucking just take it.
That's what I mean. Like a character like that causes a bunch of.
Like she straight up gets shot by Pyro a bunch of times. I don't know why he shot her. Incinerated her, but.
Mm-hmm. Well, he
And then,
can't create fire. He can only manipulate it.
Oh, yeah, that was funny. We forgot to mention that how Pyro completely destroys Johnny Storm earlier in the movie. I'm like, yeah, I guess that would make sense. And I remember thinking Pyro is so impotent because he can't create his own fire, but then he makes Johnny Storm a joke, and I'm like, oh, I guess that kind of works. It's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, now he shoots her later. That's later on, I think. Or no, I
It was
guess
at the end of this.
At the end of the fight sequence, but I really like the sequence
And I'm
with her,
guessing-
with Nova and Wolverine, and her going into his mind and
We get
trying to manipulate
yeah.
his feelings and things
Well,
like that.
we get the explanation finally we've all been waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Kind of the path of it. Again, I was a little disappointed with that explanation, but it's fine.
We got one. That's what I'm saying. We may be disappointed with it, but we got it. So obviously
I feel like they built it up to be more than it was.
yeah.
Yeah, I can see that, but,
They got their so obviously the only part I thought, because the only thing I know about Cassandra is that doesn't she hate her brother because he tried to kill her in the womb or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Is that the story?
So I guess she said she tried to strangle him in the womb, and then he killed her basically, or knocked her out of existence. I don't know.
This is one of these weird this is
Weird.
peak comic book comedy book bullshit
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I felt like the only thing that when he said
There's a reason why this character is in the void, and it's not just because she's dangerous. It's because it's a stupid character.
did he call Charles Chuck at all?
I think Logan.
I don't know.
I don't think so. But he still mentioned Charles a few times to her, and that's what stopped her, from doing it. But I feel like that wouldn't have done it in the comic books, but that's just me. So we get them back to their universe, well, to Deadpool's universe, which is 10,000.
She uses a sling ring from a magician.
From magician.
That has an infinity stones in it. So.
Yeah.
The time stone and the mind stone, I think.
Yeah. So she gets them back to 10,005, I want to say is the universe, whatever it is. And we get their moment. We get their, I guess, money shot moments, right? This is it. This is what they turn the movie from, with the Deadpools. But what do you like? Do you like the Paradox character here? Like what they did with him, the villain?
This is where
I feel like the plan.
Nova realizes she was betrayed and comes through, right, to take the device.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. I mean, that was it. So she takes the device over and instead tries to start killing all the worlds.
And then she brings the Deadpool core to stop and slow them down, so she can essentially destroy all the universes.
Yeah. So Deadpool core,
Only
guys.
the void.
Great sequence. I forgot that he actually had a cowl until he went to reach for it.
Wolverine?
Yeah. I was like, he went to reach for it. I'm like, oh, that's where he's got a cowl, and he put the cowl. That was awesome. Love that. Loved it.
It looks a little funny with the way his magically in the comics when Wolverine puts the cowl on, he's clean shaven all the time. But his mutton chops don't go far enough to come out. But obviously you can't do that in real life, so he's had mostly weird beard coming after this thing. Otherwise, though, it still looks pretty good, better than I expected it to look in live action.
Yeah.
But there's just that one detail that makes it look a little weird, or you realize how weird the comic book logic is of this cow trying to be the outline of all his facial and real hair.
Yeah.
But not.
All right. Anything to add, Tony, for that? Like, this
the
sequence
one
was
thing
great.
I thought was weird was the nice pool interaction. Because dog pool comes and then nice pool obviously shows up, and
It's the second character in this movie who Wade basically viciously murders for no reason.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like I was just like at first it was kind of like the first time when he's like using him as a body shield. And it's kind of funny, right? Because it's like, okay, yeah, he has regenerative powers. I have regenerative powers, but I don't want to take. I don't feel pain, right? Because
Yeah.
Even though I can heal this, like it's gonna hurt like a bitch. I don't want to get hurt, right? And then he's like, okay, so how long until you start healing? And he's like, healing? And like, you don't have healing? It's like, oh, it's like, okay, well maybe it's like, all right, stick with it. But then he like picks him up again.
Yeah, I love that.
Continues to use him as a body shield and just stands there, right? Like just so everybody can blast him. He's like, it's gonna be all right. Repeat after me. It's gonna be all right. And he gets his head exploded. I was like, that's a little mean spirited. I was like, damn, why is he so bloodthirsty after these people? Like, I don't know if it's like a self-hatred bit from Ryan Reynolds, like that was the thing, or like,
I don't know. The quip from Logan was, "You murdered that guy."
It's kind of Deadpool though. Like in the comics, Deadpool is more crazy. He's like multiple personality type schizophrenic. So
yeah,
it's more in line with I guess how the cinematic Deadpool is kind of steady and
but I think like it is a lot of
character. You get a little bit of that here, I think, where he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna do something impulsive for no good reason."
Also, I guess he maybe does it just so he can get the dog and the guns
and the pistols. Yeah, like that's fine. Like for being comic accurate, I can see that. But like this version of Deadpool through the 3 movies, I felt like it was a little out of character. Right, he was more heroic and stuff. So it kind of like didn't sit well with me. Not like I really cared, right? But it's like who cares about
and Wilder.
A gag for the character before he reached where he was now. For like the 3rd movie, it's not where his character should be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Movie 1 probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Gotcha.
But the fight sequence right after that though was cool. Like just seeing them go ham.
The one shot.
Yeah, the one shot that was pretty good. I like the the one Deadpool's driving the bus and he starts like panicking. He's like whatever, just gets stabbed. Oh my god.
Your baby pool and kid pool.
I didn't lose normal Deadpool in that, but amongst the other Deadpools, I could only really follow Wolverine during that sequence.
Yeah, well, that was fine. That's what they wanted you to do.
It's interesting how they all go down in like one shot, and then you're like, oh, I guess these Deadpools are not that good, and then they just come back. He's like, they set it up where the other one's like, oh, he doesn't have healing? Like, do these not have healing? Like, what's going on here? And then, oh, I guess they do have healing.
Yeah.
It was just that one.
Mm-hmm. And the whole solution was to just put the dog up, really, anyway.
No, the whole solution was also to...
Peter coming.
Peter.
Peter
Yeah.
Pool with his weird bulge, filling up.
I thought that was fun. I was like, what? Who is this? And it's like, Peter's like, oh.
Yep.
Oh. I thought that was a good
You have a Peter in all of our universe. Peter's about awesome. It's like, oh, damn. Pete.
He's alright. He's with me.
I thought that was great. Then we get the TVA sequence at the end there, which is their, like, I like the idea of it. I thought the special effects looked freaking incredible for that part. I don't know why.
Better than Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
I saw that too this weekend. That was not as good.
Do we like the team up there? Like how they were. Basically, do you like the double Deadpool locking him out and going to kill himself, to sacrifice himself, like that whole sequence?
No, I think that was really a great moment because this whole thing was.
I'm glad he got through that door eventually. I'm like, I really shouldn't hold him very long.
Yeah.
I thought the fake out there was really well done too because you're like, one of them's gonna sacrifice for the other one, right? Like they've built this, they've come to this far, and now one of them's doing it. And obviously. Wolverine's like, oh, I've got to do it, and like you have this thing to go back, so I've done nothing, and so it makes sense, And then Deadpool jumping in there is like that turn of the characters, like where we've seen him, like we just mentioned, like from Deadpool 1 to now Deadpool and Wolverine. It's like that character growth has been pretty interesting to see, and that he would not have done something like that like 2 movies ago, a movie ago.
Right.
Oh,
we talked
he
about
did
it,
try to
but-
kill himself the last movie
Right.
3 times.
The thing we didn't really talk about much, was the underlying theme for this one was that after the events of Deadpool 2, him and Vanessa, they had that thing where she wanted him to just, try, I guess, or assert himself or something, and he just never felt, after that, rejection from the Avengers, he just never really,
Yeah.
got back up, right? I
Yeah,
think that's even
that
what
was.
she said.
How do we feel about that? Sort of off-screen breakup of these characters.
I hate that trope, but
I just like the trope, but you need something to get the movie going. And
You can dwell on
turn
that.
it another
Yeah.
20 minutes of exposition to get to that point.
Yep.
That's-
Yep. So no, the him breaking through the door I think was great, and then the team up. It was a great, like I said, it's a great buddy cop movie.
Was this too much like a prayer?
No, that song was stuck in my head like all weekend.
This was my favorite moment in the
Yeah.
movie.
I do think that I remember and I saw an interview or something that Ryan Reynolds said that to get Madonna's like permission, they asked her for because I guess she doesn't license this song out too often, and she made one suggestion, and I don't know what it is, but I'm assuming that it's the moment where the song it kicks in when you see Hugh Jackman's physique at this sequence. Again, I think that feels like a Madonna suggestion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I can see
that must have been the moment.
Like only his shirt gets blown off.
I thought that was hilarious. The Deadpool reaction there was great. I was, and he made fun of him earlier in the movie about not being ripped. You remember? So I just love that explosion thing. And then I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was really funny. I was laughing like crazy there in that part. The theater was laughing. We had a good crowd with a lot of the jokes landing, good laughing in the crowd. The moments, those reveals were all nailed by the crowd with me. So it was a very enjoyable experience for the theater. But that whole sequence with the TVA coming in, and that's more of a cameo for the TVA from Loki series. What's her name? The who runs the TVA now?
H or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, H.
Yeah. So I thought that was great to have her in it, though. She have to if you have the TVA.
Yeah, that was a good thing.
Especially after season 2. But no, as far as like the team up moment, that I think that for the climax of the film, as far as like get all the guts and gore, the fighting and all that stuff, that's great too. But like I said, that was my favorite moment is when Deadpool locks out Wolverine. He wants to save Wolverine. He wants to save him, but then Wolverine comes in, and without him coming in, they wouldn't have succeeded.
Yep.
I think that was really well done, and with the music too, it was really good. And I thought that moment really like showed what this movie was all about, not necessarily just like the jokes and violence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the emotional quality is like, sorry, real quickly, when Wolverine is going, like blah blah blah, and he's moving to lock the door right behind him, and Deadpool says something like, I don't care what he says, you're the best Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, like kind of hits, right, and stuff like that. I just what does he say? Like the whole issue earlier.
Waiting for the team up a long time or something.
Yeah, but also the part where Deadpool, like Wolverine finds out he lied. Deadpool was like, oh, well, I was just making an educated wish, right? Was that
Yeah,
what the
yeah,
terminology
educated
was?
wish, yep.
Something like that? Yeah. I was like, okay, like that's really cool. And like, it's nice to see that kind of like team up, right? Where it's like you have kind of like one selfish asshole and another selfish asshole, different reasons and different ways and stuff like that, but they both kind of, overcome that and trust each other, right? And that's ultimately.
And I think it was earned too. That's the other thing. I felt like you can definitely have these parts and these characters come together and not feel like it matters really. Like, okay, I don't believe this, but I do think that they earned it in this one, which makes it more impactful.
Yeah. I do think though the way they did it with the order, like how if it was like Wolverine never really got in there by himself, I never sort of thought that they were dying at all.
Yeah.
I wasn't convinced.
No,
absolutely.
There's no way.
If Wolverine was able to get in there by himself, I could see them like doing another send off for him and him being done. But the way it went,
No, Disney's got him. He's gonna do it till he's 90.
Doing it till you're 90.
yeah, we'll see. We will see.
90.
That is. So I guess that kind of goes into my next question. What do we think about like the super sweet happy ending that this movie?
It was a super mega happy ending. It really was.
Yeah, that's the part where like I was like, oh, this actually, I thought this was going to be a send off for the Fox,
Yeah.
CU or whatever you want to call it, but it apparently still exists and everything. So Disney / Marvel can revisit this if they really want to.
They even got Laura from the Waste, which means like the other ones have.
I think so. I was surprised that we didn't see any of them, but like that was because that kind of like felt, aside from Laura, it felt weird because the whole thing at that end, that invasion of Cassandra Nova's place, it felt like they were all sacrificing themselves.
Yeah.
To, whatever, Goliath, yeah, or Goliath, and obviously when we see Laura back at his apartment, he's like, oh, I guess she did say that she would try to make an exception for him and stuff like that. I guess I would have preferred to see the others there too, like Blade and Elektra.
For me, I think I assumed that they were just off in their own movies, whatever universes or whatever areas of the world.
Or they all got eaten.
I do think they all are in there, and then I know we talked about Tony, but the end credits, like that hit hard for me. I was like, oh man, with the Green Day song, Good Riddance, and then all the behind the scenes of the Fox universe.
Yeah.
Automatic though, that song. You could play anything.
But it works. But it works so well.
That's like, it was awesome to see that, and like
all the behind the scenes.
Like, again, we all thought this was going to be a shit on Fox like fest here, but this is so much the opposite of that.
Thank you.
It was really cool to see them do that and like give all of like, not even just like the cameos we got, but we got like fantastic.
All the
we got like all the Fox stuff there. Just, like, and like that was a nice touch for Deadpool to do that. And like that's what it felt like this movie was. It felt like Deadpool was like saying, hey, like we existed, like, and we made it through this, and you guys wouldn't be here without us.
Yeah.
Like, look at like how far we've come, and like let's give credit where credit's due here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do think it's interesting. I feel like the deepest themes of this movie are kind of outside the plot of the actual movie. I think it's a little bit, it's more about just like these universes that existed in fiction and, for whatever reason didn't catch on or got bought out or they're gone. And, it's like view it as like a graduation and give them respect when you normally wouldn't. That's in my mind is almost like the main theme of this movie.
That's what Tony. I think Tony was going to say, right?
Yeah, a couple different. So the thing I wanted to say was like the credit. I mean, you know me, like I'm pretty down on the Fox CU. Like I think out of the dozen or so movies, it's like we've gotten like 3 good ones or whatever like that. But I have to admit, like seeing the behind the scenes stuff really hit me emotionally because I was like, oh shit, like it's like when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, okay, I've been watching these since I was like 16 or something. I'm over 40 now. It's like, okay, like all right, like they're getting me, and like I love kind of seeing like the behind the scenes. Like, it was just like a clip montage of, like, the movies. I was like, okay, you got me a little bit, like, seeing, like, Hugh talking about his experience and stuff like that, especially because, to my knowledge, he wasn't really a big name actor before.
He was nothing.
Right? And, like, this is what put him on the map and everything like that. So, seeing those bits of him on camera and stuff like that, to all the other properties. But I thought it was kind of poetic in a way, too, right? Because we wouldn't have Deadpool without, the X-Men movies up until this point. But at the same time, if it wasn't for like Ryan Reynolds and whoever was on his team intentionally leaking that original Deadpool footage, right? This would have never happened. Like we wouldn't have Deadpool, and thus we wouldn't even have Deadpool and Wolverine right now. So like I thought it was kind of one of those like come circle, like kind of like we exist because of you. And we are giving you that proper send-off as kind of like that gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's amazing to see, like, even Ryan Reynolds talking like, oh, I saw this Deadpool character, and I was like, I want to play this guy one day. And then he gets to play with Wilson, and it was not at all what he really kind of signed up for. And so getting to actually, basically, like, all of his wishes coming true, getting to be in the movie with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine again, the way that it was supposed to, like, as like what the fans wanted and what I'm sure they wanted as actors and fans of the character, and to see what they did here was really cool, and to kind of look back at like where it was kind of coming from was a nice touch. I appreciated that a lot.
Yeah. I did like their shawarma.
Yeah, you want to
Avengers Avengers founded it or something.
They started it, I think. Discovered, yeah, maybe discovered.
No, great jokes. Great movie. It was great closing of the Fox universe. I thought that was fantastic, and I didn't know that, so I was going to watch. But they did it.
And I will say, yeah, that the post credits sequence, did not see that coming, right? Because I knew it was obviously going to be ridiculous, but I gotta hand it to him. The part where he's at the TVA, he's like, I'm really tired of all these accusations. I, made all that shit and murdered Johnny or something like that. But let's play that again. And it's just that hidden camera. Why would he even be back there? You just have Chris Evans saying all the vulgar, like string of vulgarities and whatnot. Like at some point he's like, I'm gonna be cute at her while shoving a balls over my mouth or something like that.
She can lick my singing ring clean.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh. It's like, he's just like, as Cap, he can't do any of that. It's like, he's just wanted to unload, I'm sure. It's, so.
Yep. That was well
It
done.
was funny, I was surprised he even made it there. I thought he was dead after he fell from fighting Pyro. But whatever.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they kept that cameo secret. Because, Jim and I follow a couple of these insider people, but none of them had ideas, even alluded to that, so I thought that was cool. That was nice.
Oh, the Blade one, I think, was the most shocking for me.
Yeah, that was the most shocking. But Evans was surprised. How did they get Evans back without anybody talking about it, right? Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's
Seems
very,
like
very
something
impactful.
Want to do a little something again, but
Yeah.
talk about that in a different podcast.
Yeah.
Coming next, I think.
Yeah, so I think any other things to add? Because I think that's going to wrap up this Spoilercast bonus round, folks.
It's
Good?
a great movie. Again, it's not one where you're going to go in and be like, oh, I got to make sure my mind is tuned up to get this super intellectual experience here. It's just a fun action film with a good heart.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I understand why some critics are a little down on it. It is, some multiverse. Nothing really matters. Everything's funny. There's no real stakes. But it still had heart. Again, mostly in the meta commentary. But still, it was fun. Just pure, unabashed fun. I think throughout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not to say that we don't need critics, but there are some things where I don't need, critical review. I don't need a critical insight on it. And I want to have fun and whatever. You can start with the cinematography, blah blah. Yeah, man, it is. It does suck, but I don't fucking care. I want that.
I would say this is an 8 or so out of 10 for me, just because it's not Again, I do think that Far From Home does a similar type of thing with a little more heart and stakes and story to it. The plot of this movie it's there, it serves its purpose, but it's not nothing great.
That's true. Social media. I don't read comics anymore. When I read as a kid, that's all I knew.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Is if you're going to a movie to critique everything, you're going for the wrong reasons. You're going to the film, you're going to a theater to be entertained, have fun, and enjoy your time there. And so this movie, I think, excelled on all those factors. And I think it's doing something different than what Far From Home is doing. But as far as what they meant for these characters and what they were doing for the characters, I think they both kind of achieved those things.
Yeah. All right. So that's going to be it for the bonus round, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We have the MovieCast, Gamecast coming up. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Thanks.